So I'm just telling them that, I will get through tonight, so I understand what you're doing, and we want to set up just a brief instruction meeting to go over that.
Sorry about that, we didn't mean to have the doors locked on you.
Sorry.
She asked me. Oh, my machine.
There's one right there. Yeah, office room.
Thank you.
What do I do about that?
Hey, I wonder if she gonna get set for meeting that up.
I'm in the people to get a haircut.
Oh, yeah. She has to grab all three.
Yes, I put it in the, I don't know, I just put it in, so it's fresh. It should last, or 4 hours.
Better safe than sorry. You guys got this chair too.
You got more?
Here, Michelle. Michelle, can we get some out of the office?
We don't have any chairs except for the wooden ones. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Ashley, can you, there's just that one right there, and then I think there's one at the desk. I don't think I have any other.
No, you can have it if you need it.
They have one. No, no.
He's bringing it out at night. They got an extra one over there.
Okay. You need a bigger chair.
Did you get the other box? No, part of it.
It's nice.
Utility board meeting come to order. Questions or approval on minutes?
Make a motion to approve the board minutes from November 18th, 2019.
The motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Carried. Make a motion to claim the docket to the regular meeting.
Second.
The motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Adjustment report.
You'll just see, it's just a bunch of applied deposits, or deposits to final bill, and then a sewer adjustment for power washing, from the church.
Make a motion to approve the adjustment report.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Treasurer's report.
The only thing that I have for the utility side is, with Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve both falling on a Tuesday, Christmas Eve, the office, instead of being open 12 to 7, we're gonna be open 9 to 12. So I'll post that online, and then New Year's Eve, instead of being open 12 to 7, we're gonna be open 9 to 4. So just the 2-hourly changes on that, and that's all I have for this side.
Reed, you have anything for this meeting?
Nothing for this meeting.
Doing old business. Stormwater educator.
Way back here.
Ben.
You have to pronounce your last name again for us.
Yep, Ben Wagleitner,
Oh, can
stormwater
you switch that
educator.
off? Sorry, at the bottom of the actual
Yeah,
microphone.
the butt end of the microphone that's facing us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Ben Wagleitner, stormwater educator for the Tippecanoe County Partnership for Water Quality. Thanks for having me back. Since our last meeting, we've kept going with stormwater education throughout the county. As of my report, nothing specific to Dayton in the last month and a half. But the one thing that I did want to present on tonight is that we're moving ahead with some invasive species education. There's new momentum on invasive species control and management throughout the county. A new group has formed. It's called the Tippecanoe Invasive Cooperative Task Force. TICT is the acronym. And so there are entities from Niches Land Trust, the city of Lafayette, West Lafayette, and the Indiana DNR all working together to create this coalition of local governments and entities working to educate on invasive species and then also work to control and eradicate invasive species. And so the hope is to spread that kind of evenly throughout the county. Dayton is no exception to that. So if there are areas within the town of Dayton that anyone in this room or on this board has identified or knows of that has invasive species issues, we'd love to preliminarily get those things mapped and then ideally set up some volunteer work days and put resources into controlling those.
So that could be in the private woodland areas?
It could be in private woodland areas. As of 2020, we're trying not to work specifically on private property. We're hoping to start on either public or nonprofit property so that we don't run into issues with prioritizing certain private landowners over others. But we are willing to come out and help survey private lands. If someone thinks that they have an issue, we're happy to come and walk the property with you, look at the concerns, help you identify species, and then provide resources, whether that's information about spraying and herbicide treatment or access to NRCS or county programs. We're willing to do that. We stop short of controlling invasive species on private lands right now, but that's not to say that that won't change in the future. So.
Right. Okay.
And that's all I have, unless there's any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
TDS automation.
Good evening, Clem Kuntz here with T-Bird Design. Got a couple exhibits for each of you, just information. Basically, just has a picture of the existing site out there. What's going on in the building. So TDS automation site proposed there near the west end of the Hind Drive. Right now it's a residential building being used as an office by TDS. TDS wishes to add this 5,000 square foot building so they can work on their electrical engineering apparatus. They do a lot of work with Subaru, so nice close to home here. Electrical engineering and systems integration, I guess, is the official work that they do. And Rob here with TDS, he's president of TDS, so he's here tonight, so if you have any questions for him. It's approximately 0.6 acre site, 0.64 acres. We are going to be constructing and disturbing less than a half an acre on this site, and so therefore we had requested an exemption from detention requirements, Rule 5 requirements, some of those more onerous things in the stormwater ordinance. That was submitted to review engineer for review, and she did an excellent job and reviewed that and helped us out. And I believe she's recommended approval for that. We have no issues with the conditions stated in there. The utility service agreement, we'd also request that the board approve that. And Rob's prepared to sign that. We have no issues with that. So I think we'd be grateful for your approval of the utility service agreement and the site plan. I guess I can also add that the Area Plan Commission has approved the subdivision itself to combine this into one lot. It used to be two small lots. That allows us to build this larger building here. So, any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I'll make a motion that we approve the service utility agreement with TDS Automation LLC.
Second.
There a motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Welcome to town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you do them separate, the utility service agreement? Or did you do them both together?
No, I think he just made the motion on the utility service agreement.
Okay, you gotta approve the drainage and reception too.
Could you guys do
Um,
an additional motion?
We have another.
I make a motion that we approve the drainage exception to the TDS Automation LLC project.
Second.
There a motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Baker Farms, anything after that?
Did you want them to go ahead and sign that so they don't need to stick around, or they don't want to?
Yeah, let's do that.
We can do that.
Yeah. And then they did just give me their check for the review. Yeah, Ron has it in the original packet.
It's coming
Oh,
around.
there we go.
Great.
It's not etched on the front.
Seem right.
Is that blue?
Everybody see that? Good evening. My name is Andy Mix with Vestern Associates. Here to present the Baker Farm subdivision for approval. Greg Malakis is here of M&T Development. Baker Farms is, as I'm sure you know, 55 acres. It's located south of Wesleyan, east of Dayton Road, north of 375 south. It's zoned R1 and it is within the corporate limits of the town. It's currently farmed with row crops. The proposal is for 109 single-family residential lots. Average lot size of just over 15,000 square feet, which is about 0.35 acres. Streets will be dedicated to the town. All the design and construction shall be to town standards. There are two 12.5-foot lanes with the type 1 residential curb and gutter. The main entrance will be off of Dayton Road with an emergency access north of the West Pond, and I'll show you all this in a minute. There is a future connector road to that property that is now owned by the church trustees. eventually if that develops, that connector will be completed, and then that need for the emergency access goes away. Okay, because that'll be the second entrance in. Water and sanitary sewer, they're both brought from basically the intersection of Wesleyan Drive and Dayton Road. It's approximately 2,200 feet to the entrance to Baker Farms. They're both oversized as designed per the town request to 12-inch to allow for future development and expansion. The water main is looped within the subdivision, and all the sanitary and the water main, both inside the subdivision and outside getting to it, are designed in accordance with Dayton Utilities standards, Lafayette standards, IDEM standards, and requirements. So, let's get the drainage, which seems to be the #1 topic on this project. So currently, as I said before, this property is farmed, it's in row crops. There's no detention to speak of, there's a little bit on the site as it is now. I'm talking to the mic and pointing.
You can actually remove it so people can hear you if you want to.
Is that what we want to do? I can talk loud.
Yes.
Okay.
Like a rock star.
I don't have the hair.
Oh, just kidding. You're too close, sorry.
Okay. I'll talk loud. There's, as it states, this is the property in question, right? As it stands, runoff after a rainstorm goes one of 3 ways, right? Basically, this portion, the northern portion, comes out this way and goes out down the hill, across the floodplain, eventually makes its way to Wildcat. This southern portion here goes overland, and way down here, there really is a big basin. And I guess if we had a big enough storm, it would run off, but for all intents and purposes, it infiltrates, goes into the ground. And this west section here now goes this way to Dayton Road. Anecdotally, I've been told that it's very rare that it actually crosses Dayton Road. But if we had a big enough storm, it would eventually go west, hit Elliott Ditch, and make it to Weed Creek. We modeled all this, as I'm sure you're aware. We modeled 2, 5, 10, 25, 50, and 100-year storms. I'm only showing 2, 10, and 100, 2, 10, and 100. And this is peak runoff in cubic feet per second. You don't have to memorize the numbers, I'll come back to them. But just for instance, you got 48 cubic feet per second coming off the north end here, which goes down the hill, 33 over here, 40 over there, under the 100-year storm for the model, okay? Current conditions. All right, so let's go to the development side. So, same piece of property. So under the developed condition, there's a series of storm sewers, which are shown in green, swales, which are shown in orange, which take all the water, theoretically, the greatest majority, 99% of it, to one of 4 new ponds, okay? New detention ponds. This north pond is just over 3 acre-feet. This central pond is 3.3 acre-feet. This one, the south pond, is 4.8 acre-feet. And this west pond over here is 1.6 acre-feet. I will tell you that these 2 ponds are hydraulically linked, which means they act as one system. So we had 3 outlets on the existing condition. We're going to have 3 outlets in the proposed condition. I will say that this pond, the west pond, is an infiltration pond, which means it's designed for all the water to go down and not be released to an All total, we've got 12.72 acre feet of storage planned. All of these ponds are oversized compared to what the Tippecanoe County Drainage Ordinance, which you guys are all signatory to, requires. We believe that this meets or exceeds all of the standards, requirements, and or best practices of the county and the state with regards to ponding and drainage. I don't know if you can see it, but there's all these little arrows on here. Those indicate emergency routing. So if there is a gigantic system, right, 500-year flood or whatever, the water has a place to go. The idea is keep it out of people's houses, right, and off their roads as much as possible. Anything can happen. Mother Nature could always throw a storm at us that's bigger than we can design for. All of the outfalls and orifices for all these ponds have been sized to store water, slow it down, slowly release it. At the same time, they've been designed such that after 48 hours, those ponds have emptied to get ready for the next storm. Okay? Let's see.
The 48 hours is a county statute?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Just a couple items of note before I go too much further. You'll notice this area here in Outlot B, there's nothing going on there. That's on purpose. All construction is southwest of that diagonal line there. All right, this isn't going to be touched, and that's to help spread that water out to minimize any erosion problems, right, through there. This was a big deal with the state, so they're happy with this. And then lastly, there was a big concern also from the state and from BFNS with erosion during construction, and we've come back and put in some rock dams and some forebays temporarily that are there during construction. It's all spelled out in the plans. Basically, the water initially comes into the pond. Typically, as you're working earth around it, it's going to have some silt and some solids in it. It's a place for that stuff to drop out right away, which can be easily cleaned, and then clear water is what comes over the top. So that's for construction. So, taking all of that into consideration, remember those numbers I showed you before, here's the same numbers using a very similar model, the exact same model with new parameters. And you can see they've come down, and again, don't worry about the numbers, I'll get to it. So, drainage ordinance prescribes an allowable peak runoff rate, and it's based on what the pre-development conditions are. It's based on the slope, it's based on the soil conditions, it's based on the surface condition, whether it's pavement or crops or grass or whatever. So we calculate that, and it says that this is the ordinance. It says that we're allowed 0.27 acre feet or CFS per acre. I'm sorry, 0.27 CFS per acre in a 10-year event. 0.53 CFS per acre in a 100-year event. Okay, so we know what the acreage is. We can calculate that, right? But long story short, we far exceed those requirements. Let me do this right. So here's those numbers. North pond, or north outlet, south outlet, west outlet. Here's our pre-development numbers. You can look 48, 40, 33. This is what is calculated as allowable by the drainage ordinance. This is what the model says our post-development runoff peaks will be. 48 goes to 5, 40 goes to 2, 33 goes to nothing. Okay? And just as a comparison, this is the percent of, so the post-development's percentage of pre-development. So you can see there's a big change in what's in the runoff from the site as to opposed to what's happening now. And then this one is just the percentage of the allowable. There is no allowable for 2 years, so I only gave you 10 and 100. Okay? But basically, we're at around half or less of what the ordinance says we could do. And that's for a lot of reasons, mostly because of the site and where it is. So I've tried to hit the highlights of this without getting into all the weeds. I'd be happy to answer any questions. We believe that the design meets or exceeds all the relevant requirements. It's been reviewed by the consultant. I believe that they have recommended approval. So with that, I would ask for the approval. And again, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
And it's approved by the state. Is approved by the state.
It has been sent to the state. We have a verbal approval. You had the conversation with Doug, did you not?
I did talk to Doug. He said that, he will go with whatever we recommend. He does have a copy of the plans, and he had them a couple weeks ago, and he didn't have any additional comments. He said he will be, checking in during construction, because that's really when they get involved.
Thanks.
And just to kind of follow up on that, with hopefully an approval tonight, there are a set of permit applications that need signature, and then they go to the state for water, sewer, storm, and roof.
Make a motion that we approve the Baker Farms subdivision drainage plan.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Service utility agreement? Is there a presentation on that or not?
Not usually, but if you have questions, I can answer them.
The service utility agreement for the Big Farms subdivision, you've reviewed that and you've sent us a...
Michelle Watts with Butler, Fairman Cipher. Yes, I reviewed the utility service agreement, and they had presented cost recovery fees for the upsizing of the pipe, which is shown on the summary of cost as a credit. And I reviewed their calculations, and I believe they fall in the normal realm of what it would cost to increase from an 8-inch to a 12-inch. So I've reviewed all of this, and I'm good with it.
Sure. There's, the way this is presented is a conditional agreement based on a couple other items that still need to be loose ends tied up, I guess you would say.
The letter for the drainage, the one was conditional approval, and one of the items was based on the utility service being executed and recorded. So they won't be able to get their construction permit from the town until that's done, along with, they need all their easements, and they need to record their stormwater maintenance and drainage plan and stuff like that. So this is, the USA is kind of a standalone.
Yes, okay.
Is a condition of the other one too.
Can you explain where the utilities will be provided? And also where the easements are provided?
Yes, so the
That's in the
utilities,
attachment.
yeah, the utilities are coming from north in front of the church, all the way down Dayton Road and to the entrance of Baker Farms, and then they go into the subdivision. The utility easements, they are going to plat all of the outlots as ingress, egress, utility, and drainage easements. And we added, added the utility easements, that way Outlot D, which is along Dayton Road, which is about 80 feet wide from the center line, will have a utility corridor all along Dayton Road. And so that's, even if you get right away for Dayton Road, and if this will plat right away for Dayton Road and other things, but that gives you plenty of room to extend utilities all the way along this property on Dayton Road. Plus it gives you ingress, egress, and drainage rights to all the outlots in case, I mean, they're gonna be owned by the homeowners, but there's always, you know, if the homeowner association is not maintaining a pond or something else, it gives the town the right to go in, fix whatever problems there are, and then you can charge the homeowner association as needed. And that is in the maintenance agreement also. But you want that set up so that, say a pond outlet is clogged or whatever, you want to be able to fix it quickly because it does affect other people outside of this subdivision, and it may not be a high priority on the homeowner association, but you know, on the utility side it is a very high priority. So that gives you the right and legal means to go on that outlot, fix it, and then go back on the homeowner association to get it, you know, paid back for that. So they're gonna add, they added that, if you look at the exhibit, so we did include the sketch plan, the preliminary plat for that, in the utility service agreement, which shows all the outlots and what their widths are and what the dimensions are, so that there shouldn't be any questions later about what the town has rights to.
Good, thank you.
And this needs to be, after everybody signs it, it needs to be recorded at the county office, and so a copy needs to get back to the owner so they can go and record it. And I would say before we give utility permits, we need a copy of that, the recorded copy.
And just so everybody knows, we signed over the easements on the west side of the road with Greg. We got an agreement, so he's gonna put the water on the west side, the sewage on the east side. We worked that out and promised everybody we'd do that. So
Those signatures, the ink's dry on that paper?
it's invisible ink.
Yeah.
It's dry, yes.
Yeah.
Greg?
Yeah, yeah, and I want to thank Cindy and Ron for working through the agreement and signing it right before the meeting. The plans that you just approved have it all on the church side right now, but in this agreement, we will be moving it to the west side of the road. The water will be on the west side of the road. And that will mean that we'll have to create the drawings for the easement and the legal description, which will attach to the document that we signed tonight, and that's what will be recorded as the easement. When that is all completed, the easement will be in place, and we will redesign for the water going down the west side of the road and submit that as a change to our plans when that gets completed.
And I believe you had said earlier on at previous meetings that property owners further south were agreeable to our head offer.
Yeah, there are two other property owners on the west side of the road that I have to get easements from, and one of them is Jan Inc., and they will cooperate, and the other one is D&D, and they have said that they would agree to grant the easement as well. So we'll have easements on the west side of the road, and I believe that with the agreement that Ron and Cindy signed tonight, granting the easement or the future easement on the west side of the road, that the church will be meeting tomorrow, and I think with that good news that the church hopefully will sign the easement agreement for the east side of the road.
Any questions from the council?
Make a motion, we approve the service utility agreement for the Baker Farm subdivision.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your patience and working with the town of Dayton through all this.
Thanks for everybody involved. Utility report.
We also have the reimbursement agreement for Baker Farms.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that
Come
now.
on,
You have that?
So previously had a verbal agreement with Greg, just wanting to memorialize that. Basically, it says that through this process, Dayton has incurred some costs, legal fees, fees for the other Fairman right away, and then any amounts that will be paid. We haven't incurred any to the church for the value of those easements. So I prepared that, we exchanged that, so it's really for you guys to approve.
You're talking about this?
Correct. We had 2 drafts, so I have the second draft printed, and that was the one that I received from Ryan, but just need.
Along with the 4 items.
Correct.
I personally disagree with item number 4. I don't think that the developer should have to pay for the town's attorney to be involved in the town's business. Me personally.
I think the developer has agreed to pay this, and it's all in a compromise on everything, and in the past, the church and other people pay to get their easements and pay the costs of it, so
Well,
it's a nice compromise for everybody.
I look back at when Caterpillar expanded, and Caterpillar paid for legal review on the town's behalf. I mean, the other portions I do agree with, but that's my personal opinion, I guess.
Well, we put it at, it's 2,000 actually, because the costs are quite a bit more than that.
Who's we?
Greg, and decided on, and we're trying to compromise to get this thing pushed through, where a lot of people still don't want it done, but we're trying to start a new year here and get the darn thing moving, and this is a everybody gave in somewhat. So the town, the whole goal is the town doesn't incur a lot of costs. Greg's paying, he's gonna make the money, he's gonna pay it, he's willingly doing it, so. And it's only a part of what some of the costs could be, so. Yeah, it's capped at 2,000.
Well, I see
Greg
that.
agreed with that. Let's just get it done, guys.
Any other questions?
And I think our own lawyer even said in the email that it's good
So,
for the town.
so anybody that comes to town, TDS Automation was just here. So we're charging people at TDS Automation, whenever they want some type of proposal in front of the board, where it takes a little bit of attorney's time and.
No, actually, this is for easement work and everything, like in our development guide, it says the developers pay for procuring the easement, just like the church did and everything, so that's what this is for.
Well, I don't see any verbiage in here about, as it pertains to item number 4, easement.
Okay,
So,
Greg's for it, our lawyer's for it, we came up with an agreement for it, if you wanna argue it, fine.
I don't think it's morally right.
Well,
Or
it is
ethically
right.
For us to charge, any citizen that comes up here, or any business that comes up here with a proposal, I don't think it's right.
Well, this is for getting easements, we could be saying, we could, and if this was another board here and anybody came to us, we would follow our development guide, and any work that they did getting those easements, if it used our legal team, we would charge them for it.
I think you were holding somebody over a barrel, is my opinion. What do we all want to do?
Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we adopt the reimbursement agreement.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Yeah, I have a copy for you guys to sign. Mark?
So just, so I have the right picture in my mind, Andy, so on the west side, there'll be a 12-inch water main and then an 8-inch spur going over underneath the road for the development. Is that?
It's not designed,
But,
but
I mean, that's the-
that's what I have in my mind,
Okay.
unless you tell me that there's a
No,
reason that
no.
it needs to be a 12-inch strip.
No,
I
I
don't
just,
see one.
I just want to have a picture in my mind of what's been agreed to, so. Just a few items this evening. The first one is one I discussed previously about how Senate Bill number 4 is going to require towns to do water audits annually, which is, it's a way to secure financing for infrastructure in towns in Indiana, so I understand it, but they sent another note here this week, and it said, I'll just read it to you. The legislation requires all utilities to participate in regional planning meetings on odd numbered years, so 21, 23, 25. So in addition to an annual water audit or water loss report, the town will need a representative to go to these regional meetings, and the leverage that they have on that is that if the town is not participating in these regional meetings, they will not be eligible for the state revolving fund loan program, which is used for a lot of towns to make improvements to replace their old water line and stuff. So I think it's something we'll want to participate in, so if in the future we need to access some state funds, but there's always a catch to all legislation, like there it is, so we'll want to participate in that. Next item is the community crossing grant. So we're trying to get it to move forward, and of course the next stage is the engineering on it, so we can get the bid packets put together. We get the design work done and then the bid packets put together. This time the engineering is a little bit more involved than it previously has, because we have sidewalks. So since we're doing new sidewalks, we have to determine exactly where the town right-of-way is on these properties, and also we have to make sure that they meet the ADA specifications anytime you use state funds. So there's a little bit more to it this time. I've got a copy of the engineering agreement for you to look at here real quickly. So the important thing about this is that, as I mentioned last time, we have to have all signed contracts and everything into NDOT by February 24th to still keep the funding we've been given. So the timeline is what's important. I had gotten a hold of VS Engineering, said, hey, we want to advertise for bids on the 6th and 13th. Open bids before the end of January, award the contract and move forward. Well, something you'll note on here is that on the second page, it says the first public notice would be on January 17th, the second on the 24th, and then the bid openings would be on the 14th of February, which is cutting it a little bit closer than I hoped for, but it still does give us a small window to meet that February 24th deadline. The reason I bring that up is that, of course, I'd like to move forward with awarding of this contract so we can get things surveyed, designed, and we don't miss our deadlines as far as being eligible for those funding.
We approved them, DS, back in September or October to
I want to say what?
October, yes. I don't know that we need
To approve it per se, or?
Yeah, we've already, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thank
I guess the reason I brought it to your attention more than anything, one is the dates, and the second one is that compared to other community crossing grant programs, we had some additional engineering fees because of the sidewalks and the survey and stuff. So, yeah, if we don't need that passed, I'll go ahead and sign the contract and get it to them tomorrow. Okay?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
New sidewalks next week.
Yeah. So just briefly on some of these things, so you approved me taking in the scrap metals, so I took it in, got $213.85, so that was worth the effort. I've mentioned also that there's going to be a new home build at 767 Main Street. We did get a copy of the building permit from the county, and we'll be working with Majestic Homes. That's who's building this house. They haven't done anything yet, and they haven't got the water tap permit or anything yet, but we'll be working with them on that. Last week, as you might have seen right out here on South Street, Case Construction was in town making the repairs where Vectron was in, working on gas lines. So they've got South Street repaired, they repaired the sidewalk across from Kohler's Garden Center, and then also one at 273 Conjunction. I tried to persuade them to patch the street on Washington where there was a gas main leak, but they didn't do it. So at least I met with the contractor while they were in town, so I reminded them again that we'd like to see that get buttoned up there. Also, next item is stormwater projects. So I have two, I guess I would call them resident requested stormwater projects. We've got some places in the older part of town where people, their sump pumps for their basements, they have nowhere to put this water. We don't have enough stormwater mains in that area of town to provide them with a good outlet. So what they end up doing is just really recycling the water from the basement constantly. So I'd like to do a stormwater main extension over by Main Street, and also would like to do some, we have a drainage swell over from Republican down to Clifty. I'm just giving you the general picture of those, but I think with all that we have going on this evening, and plus we're getting ready to switch over boards, I'll just wait until the January board meeting before I present those projects in details and ask for approval of those. Okay. That's it. We see the last item. I'll be gone a couple of days at the end of the year, but that'll be it. Any questions about the community crossing or any of those?
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments from the residents, and then go with utilities. Council? John?
Yeah.
Make a motion we adjourn, Service Utility Board meeting. Second.
Motion second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same.
Go right so people can leave.
Dayton Town Council meeting's now in session. I'd like to ask for approval of the minutes for the town board meeting November 18th, 2019.
Make a motion we approve the board minutes from November 18, 2019.
Second.
And motion made and properly seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. to ask for approval of the claims docket for December 9th, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve claims docket for December 9th, 2019.
Second.
There's been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Fund report. I'd like to ask for approval of the fund report, 11/30/2019.
Make a motion, we approve the November 30th, 2019 fund report.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see.
Allowance docket.
Okay. I'd like to ask for approval of the allowance docket from November 1st to November 30th, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve to approve the allowance docket from November 1st through November 30th, 2019.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I would like to ask for approval of the revenue report for November 30th, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve the revenue report for November 30th, 2019.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I'd like to ask for approval of the appropriation report for November 30th, 2019.
Make a motion, we approve the appropriations report for November 30th, 2019.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, that motion carries. Last one, I'd like to ask for bank reconciliation of August 2019 and September 2019.
Make a motion, we approve the bank reconciliation report August 2019 and September 2019.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. Court treasurer report.
Okay, so a couple things. One, you guys will see that you got a copy of another invoice from Yasmin Law Group for the amount of $3,538.23. This is work that was done for October of 2019. So I just asked the board to approve the invoice for Yasmin Law Group.
Make a motion, we approve the Stock Law Group LLPC bill for $35.38.23.
Second.
There's been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The next thing that I put in your guys' packet, when utility clerk Tammy and I went to our voice user training, I learned that like every time that we do payroll, we print the payroll stubs. Obviously, everybody gets direct deposit. And I never realized that they are able to email those direct deposits when I create payroll for the week. So I talked to Scott, because obviously he has a majority of the employees on his part. I think we have probably about 24 altogether. But I asked him, because obviously we have officers who either work once every 2 weeks, once a month. So I asked Scott, he said he has a stack of those pay stubs sitting in his office. So for security and everything, and people asking to reprint, and if you think about how many times ink is expensive, paper is expensive. So they do offer, like I said, so then people would get the email sent directly to them with their payroll stub. So if they ever need it, they can just search their email and reprint it themselves. It is a $500 yearly fee. But every time that I go and buy ink, which is once, I think, every 2 or 3 months, it's $245. Plus the room of paper, and for confidentiality because Scott doesn't always see his officers, the board half the time doesn't pick up theirs either. So just thinking to save paper and ink, and so I was just putting that out there. Just see if that would be something that
Do they offer a website where people can go to,
like the doc delivery.
to
No, I think this is
thing
their
on?
form of that, just by emailing it. So it goes directly to the email. And like I said, we can wait. I'm just putting it out there that it is something, trying to think about cutting, especially with how expensive ink is. So you can think about it, and no, because I can sign up for it at any time. So, there's that. The next thing, as you guys can see in your packet, Tammy has some copies over there. I only made 12, so 6 for that side, and I have 6 for this side if you want to pass them out. As we have worked on the salary ordinance and we have had questions and statements about the raises being done or the highest they've ever been or benefits changing. So I was asked to provide a 5-year comparison on salaries and benefits. I figured we've had 3 clerk treasurers. Scott didn't come on until the full-time deputy until 2014, part of the year. Mark didn't come on until the middle of last year. So I figured to actually be accurate and show where the town has been, I did a 10-year benefit and salary comparison. So I have it broke down for every year from 2011 to what 2020 will be. So we have the council members, clerk, treasurer, utility clerk, utility superintendent, marshal, and the deputies. So you'll just see, obviously back in 2011 to 2015, like the maintenance superintendent, I think there was it Max? Yeah. So there was them, there was Lanny, so we didn't really have like a set person that was here for a long time. So as you can see, Marshall Taylor, when he came on in 2014, his salary, he was only paid for 3.5 months, but he went without a raise for 4 years. He just got a raise since he was hired on in 2014. In 2019, he got a 3% raise, and then he got a 3% this year. The utility superintendent, again, you can see that it goes back and forth, but obviously it's going progressively up because Mark is our, I think, real first full-timer. Utility clerk, in 2011, it went from 15 an hour, then 15, 15, 15, 15.50, 16.35, 17.50, and then in 16 it was 11 an hour. There was 3 utility clerks in 2016. 2017 there was a $1 raise. 2018 there was a $2 raise. And then that's where I came on at 15 an hour in 2018. And then my utility clerk, before I even put out the applications, before I even put out the job description, the board approved for me to hire a utility clerk at $13 an hour for 90 days, and then she could be raised up to 15. So her 13 an hour was a probationary. Her 15 was just what she got. And then obviously the board approved her for a $1 raise for 2020. For clerk treasurer, so as you can see, I don't know why from 2011 to 2012, oh excuse me, it did go up a little bit there. So 2013 and 14, the clerk treasurer got a 3% raise. And then in 15, you'll see that the clerk treasurer got an 11% raise. And then there was no raise for 16 and 17. In 18, there was a 1.5% raise. 19, there was no raise. And then I got a 4% raise. So, like we said, it's been said that we've done the biggest salary increases. I would have been okay with 11% raise, not gonna lie. So that was back in 2015. So we have paid more and we have given bigger raises. If you flip over, I just go from 2011 to 2020 for the insurance reimbursement. In 2011, the town of Dayton actually provided the full-time town marshal, Blue Cross and Blue Shield. So the town paid almost $12,000 for one person to actually have insurance, along with that marshal's salary being $50,000, almost $51,000 that year. So, and then in 2012 to 2019, it changed to $350 a month for the clerk treasurer, full-time marshal, and full-time chief deputy marshal, which obviously we've not had one of those yet. And then obviously in 2020, it got raised to the $500 a month, and then the utility clerk getting the $200. I do want to state that I had no problem admitting that I was wrong. So it was brought to my attention that it was believed that Lena got the insurance stipend, and I had reported that. And after doing this comparison, which I think it opened my eyes and let me see a lot, and after talking to Marshall Taylor, actually Lena did not get a health insurance stipend. She got paid $140 a month to clean the police department and town hall. So that was the extra money that Lena was getting on top of her 30 hours a week that she was making. So I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. We found out what it was. Actually, Marshall Taylor pointed it out. It's in the salary ordinance. So then if you flip over in PERF, pretty much from 2012 to 2020, it's been the same where the town has paid the employer share, but the employee pays their own share. But in 2011, the town actually paid the employer share and the employee share. So not only in 2011 did we pay $12,000 for somebody to have insurance, we also paid the employer share and the employee share for PERF. And then if you flip over to the next one, the additional pay for meetings for council members. You can see from 2011 to 2019, it's fluctuated. They originally started getting paid $75 for every additional meeting. Then it changed to that they were paid $15 an hour for up to above 3 hours. Then it went back to $75 a meeting. But now in 2018, it changed to where whoever was attending the area plan meetings received $75, and then it was $15 per hour for any additional meetings. 2019, it got raised to $85 a meeting. So then, as you can see, that bounces back and forth. It obviously proves that the council has always changed benefits up and down. And then the next thing is sick days. In 2011, each employee got, or excuse me, the full-time employees got 1 sick day per month. So they got 12 sick days, and they could accrue up to 66 days. 2012 and 13, they still got 1 sick day per month, and they could then only accrue up to 30 days. And then in 14 to 19, it went from 6 days a year, but they could not accrue. And then obviously the board voted for 2020 to keep the 6 sick days, but they could accrue up to 60 days for full-time and 15 days for the utility clerk. And then the last thing that I just did was the clothing allowance. As you can see, it's fluctuated again from town marshal and deputy marshal. The town marshal and deputy marshal has always been the chief deputy marshal has always been $600 a year. But the deputy marshals went from $250 to $500 to $600 to $300, and then they're still at $300. So again, this is kind of just an eye-opener. I think it's good for the new board coming in as well to see how the town has progressed with increases. I believe that we probably also have more money now than we did back in 2011, 2015, and we're still giving high raises. So that's just there for everybody to see. And like I said, it was a big eye-opener, and then I learned, obviously, some things. So that's that. Then the next thing, if you want to pass that down to them. Obviously, last month, I presented the changes to the employee handbook, and again, there was rumors that some things were approved that wasn't approved. So I have not turned them in to HR yet because it's not cheap to get our manual updated. So what I just did is typed out for you guys what it currently is and what you guys actually voted to change. So we'll just run through these real quick. So currently it's temporarily seasonal employee. We're changing it to temporary seasonal worker. The payroll for biweekly, that's on Fridays. We just added that holidays falling on a payday will be paid the last working day of the week. Paydays falling on the day after a holiday will be at the discretion of the clerk treasurer on which day to pay. The pension for PERF, it already states all full-time employees are covered by PERF. We are just adding that the employer pays the 11.2, the employee pays the 3, and that they can voluntarily contribute up to 8% more. The emergency call-ins is currently at 1 hour. It was changed to 2 hours. Holidays, the manual only has the 7, but it was approved to the 13 days in 2018. So we're just updating the manual, that what our salary ordinances have already shown. Currently, it states that the board reserves the right to pay part-time employees holiday pay. So it's already giving part-time employees that benefit. We are just adding that the clerk treasurer reserves the right to pay the part-time utility, the part-time utility clerk holiday pay. Under that holiday pay, again, it's currently states if a police officer is called in on a holiday for an emergency, he or she will be given the day off and compensate for lost holiday. It's changing to if a full-time officer works a holiday, he or she will be given a day off. So it's just changing from called in from an emergency to if they work it, just like everybody else. On vacation, it currently states that full-time employees will receive 40 hours of vacation at his or her anniversary. You guys voted to add the verbiage, if you are hired on or before June 30th of the year, you are eligible for 1 week of vacation leave. You must use the vacation leave on or before December 31st of the year of hire on your vacation leave, or your vacation leave is forfeited. On January 1st of each following year, you will accrue your total annual vacation leave. If your hire date is on or after July 1st of the year of hire, you are not eligible for vacation leave during the year of hire. On January 1, you will accrue 1 week of vacation. So we didn't change. It's still after 2 years, you get your 2 weeks. So all of that has stayed the same. It's just instead of actually having to add your 1 year, if you're hired before June 30th, you get it. If you're hired after July 1st, you don't get it until January 1st of the next year. We also added that the utility clerk and part-time utility maintenance, so that would be if Mark hires his actual part-time person that works 20 or 30 hours a week that would train to get certified and take over, that they will be eligible to earn vacation time for the hours worked. During years 0 to 4, the employee will earn vacation time at the rate of 0.07438 per hour worked. Years 5 through 10, the employee will earn vacation time at the rate of 0.09705 per hour worked. And then you voted to remove the line where it says full-time employee will receive 40 hours of vacation on his or her anniversary because you changed it to the new verbiage. And then the last 2 things on bereavement, where for the 5 days, it only states spouse. You guys voted to add child, parent, and grandparents. On C, where it gives 3 days, it's going to be only listed as in-laws, step relatives, or other residents of the household of the employee. And lastly, on sick leave, it's where 6 days, it's currently at 6 days a year, but cannot accrue or carry over, and it's changing that it can now accrue to a 60-day cap, and the utility clerk will receive 6 sick days and can accrue up to a 15-day cap. So I just wanted to clarify what you guys voted on, so now I will send it to HR and have them update the manuals, so that everybody's on the same page.
Thank you.
And just the last couple things. So if you get your calendars, Financial Solutions has our 5-year sustainability plan ready. They could not make it tonight to actually do like a work session beforehand. So I have it set for Monday, December 16th at 6 p.m. They will be here to do the presentation of the 5-year sustainability. Is that okay with everybody?
December the 16th.
Yeah, Monday,
At what time?
6. And I will post these all online as well and on the door. For new council members, and then Ron and Ashley, on Wednesday, December 18th at 6 p.m., we have a closed door meeting with Luke Britt.
We might change that because some people can't come, so I'll let you know. I'll talk to you later.
And then I'd like to schedule Monday, December 30th at 6 p.m. for this board as the end of the year. So everything that needs to be finalized, show that all bills are paid, transfers are done, because all transfers have to be done before December 31st. So that will be our end of year to close everything out, before we roll
What
over.
day is that?
Monday, December 30th at 6 PM. So that, I would only foresee that meeting lasting maybe 10, 15 minutes, because that's literally just confirming everything. And then I believe the last thing that I have Al scheduled for new elected training for this Saturday, the 14th in Noblesville. I sent Jen all of the dates. She's not able to make the 14th with Al, and tomorrow, Saturday, and one other day are the final days, and then that's it for new electric training. So, I don't know if she's able to make the Fort Wayne one, but, so, I guess, I know Stan, I don't know if he's gonna be able to make the 17th. There was like 6 days, but, so, I think that's all I have right now.
Thank you.
Newly elected officials, I did get confirmation from Julie Roush, the Speaker County Clerk, that all the newly elected officials have been sworn in by her. So we'll be ready to start their term when that time comes. Last month, you guys approved the fee agreement for me to continue for next year, so I just have the actual fee agreement that's on the same terms for you to review and sign today. So we'll start again just like last year. There's 50 hours of attorney time included, 30 hours of paralegal time included for the flat fee of $12,500. If there's any hours in addition to that, then be back to hourly like I have done this year. Same hourly rate, 200 for attorney time, 115 for paralegal time. So just need a motion to approve and authorize Tammy to sign.
Make a
Receive one
motion.
signature.
I make a motion that we approve the engagement letter for Myrtle Law.
Second.
Okay, motion made, properly seconded, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
The other thing is just an update regarding Dayton Redevelopment Commission. So the declaratory resolution has been adopted by the Redevelopment Commission. We are now going through the process of getting other approvals. We are on the agenda first for Tippecanoe County. And remember, that's because some of the land is in the county, so we'll be a joint allocation area in the beginning. And then we're gonna go in front of area plan next. So those dates are December 16th at 10 o'clock. And then Wednesday, December 18th at 6 o'clock p.m. And then I believe the next step is to come back in front of the council. But all that's moving along. And then the only thing I have with that is, right now, all the, actually, the lawyer for the Dayton Redevelopment Commission, but any expenses that the Redevelopment Commission incurs because they won't have any taxes will be, actually paid by the town of Dayton. So, question for, not just for anyone, is just your preference on, how to invoice those fees, since I'm going away from hourly. I think what would be best is just to continue to invoice Dayton, but just do a separate invoice for any time for the redevelopment commission, and just go ahead and send hourly invoices. And then, the only time that would be going towards this flat fee would be for the town of Dayton, just to keep those separate. But
Yeah, I think you're right, keep it separate, but I'm not too worried about till there's income to pay through the development commission for that fee, separate them out. So, I agree.
that's all I have.
towards council members, Ron?
No. Ashley?
Joe?
I have a letter of correspondence that was delivered today, and Michelle, if you wouldn't mind reading this into the meeting, please.
Dear Dayton Town Council, regarding April 2019 town meeting. Since the town council will soon be changing its members, I wanted to make sure to address this issue with at least a personal explanation, even though we have not decided on the route that we will be taking with our attorney. The council members let citizens speak regarding our home, family, and farm, even though we were not present to defend ourselves. It went to the extent of threatening and stating our minor child's full name along with our address and names, and is now on YouTube for the world to see. I asked in the past for videos containing our names and address be taken off YouTube because our foster children and adopted children could be put in danger, as well as ourselves and certain people, if certain people know our address. I was met with a letter and a big no from Cindy Marsh. All she had to do was edit the videos to take out our name and address, but she refused. Like everything else, she doesn't care who she hurts as long as she gets what she wants. This response goes in line with the portion of the video that states with comments from the residents that I sent to the attorney, so the times may not be the same if you go back and watch it, but it should be pretty accurate. I appreciate you taking the time to read over this, since we're not granted an audience to do so. Sincerely, Shannon and David James.
Just to be clear, the town did not post YouTube videos. That was posted by a private individual.
Yeah, she just delivered all of those packets at the door, like 30 minutes before the meeting.
No, what he's saying is we are, the town
Right.
is not the ones that put it on.
Correct. I'm just saying she just delivered those.
You can have that in your file.
Town police report.
Any questions on November activity? The AEDs which were approved for purchase have been received and deployed in the squad cars. Last month I received TASER recertification training from the Sheriff's Department. Again, this training was done at no charge. I had a request from a resident who wanted me to bring this up to the council's attention. At Delaware and Walnut Street, there is no street light. It is dark in that area, and his complaint was that it's hard to see due to the geographic nature of the hill and the curve there on turning. I went and inspected that, and at every intersection on Walnut Street, we have a street light, except for Delaware. There is a street light in front of the Masonic Temple on the side of the cemetery, which is like a utility pole spaced down. So I don't know if I don't know who pays for that light, if that's a Dayton light, or technically it's on a pole that's in the county. So I don't know who pays for that or whatever, but they would like a street light put at that location. I went around town, and the majority, I would say 80% of our intersections have a light at or pretty near it. So.
That's an area of town that would be affected by the State Road 38 redo coming up in the next couple of years.
2021 is whatever they hope to have.
Yeah. Maybe we should talk to IDOT now and find out where they intend on putting street lights.
There is a utility pole at that
Yeah.
location, it just doesn't have a light on it.
They'll be redoing that entire section, and I know
They'll be widening that there.
they'll be moving telephone poles back and some things like that in that area, so we need to check into that.
The only other thing I had was a request to make a one-time exemption that I'd be allowed to use 4 vacation days in January, the second week. I have them to use, but it would require me carrying them over, which is not in our policy guidelines.
Carrying over how many days?
4.
Make a allow Marcia Taylor to carry over the 4 vacation days into January.
Second.
Been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Miscellaneous new and old business. Salary ordinance.
Yeah, you guys should all have copies. So there'll be ordinance numbers 10 and 11. So there's the non-elected one and then the elected official one, so they'll be separate.
Which was which?
It doesn't matter, whatever you guys decide to number each one. So as long as you guys all agree.
Non-elected is 10 and elected is 11.
Motion for both, right?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 20-19-10 and ordinance 2019-11.
Second.
There's been a motion made and properly seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Comments from residents?
Before we start comments, I need to say something. Tammy, can you give me that back? I'm gonna step up here rather than trying to. So as we all know, I'm too loud. As we all know, this is the last council meeting, or the last monthly council meeting with Mike, Tyrone, and Tammy. So I have some things, or some plaques for them, and I just wanted to say a little something. So I want to start out with Tyrone. So Tyrone, when I was utility clerk, I really didn't get to talk to you or get to know you. It wasn't until I was appointed as clerk treasurer that I started to get to know you and work with you closely. I then got to learn how big of a heart that you had and exactly how much you cared for this town. I feel like one of the biggest visions you had for this town was to bring the community back together. You and I were always discussing ways to have different community events that were family friendly and how to bring back events such as Dayton Days that you yourself remember enjoying as a kid while growing up in this town. Working next to you has been such a privilege, and I'm honored that I got to work with you this past year. You have a big heart, and I think that it shows through how successful the movie nights have been this past year. You can tell that you were never in this position for the money. You were because you truly had a vision to better the town, to make it a better place for people to love and to call home and raise their families. I hope you know how much you're appreciated and valued by so many residents in our town. You will truly be missed, and I hope that you continue to help make those visions a reality.
Thank you.
Tammy. So Tammy, when I was appointed clerk treasurer, I was a little overwhelmed with what was handed to me, but I was ready to take on the challenge, and you were right there by my side to help me through every step of the way. The first couple of months, you were my right-hand lady. You helped me so much in the office. You helped me get the office back in order and prepare for my first audit. Hey, why not throw me in head first in my first year, but we did it. And I owe a huge thanks to you for that. I'm thankful for having an amazing person that I got to work with and have had someone to help me get through this first half of the year. I couldn't have done it without you. I didn't expect to gain such an amazing friend along the way, but I'm lucky to say that I did. You have been such an asset to the police department with your knowledge and experience. Safety of the residents has always been your top priority of yours. We thank you for your time and your dedication to the town and the employees. You have always wanted what was best for the town. You will truly be missed, but remember, we will always have Vegas, baby. And last but not least, Mike. Don't cry on it. Mike, you were one of the first people to believe in me to lead the town in the right direction, and I thank you for that. I only got to work with you for one out of your 20 years while serving on the town council, and I'm honored to have been able to do so. Serving 20 years on the town council should be something that you should be extremely proud of. With your experience, you brought a lot of knowledge to previous boards and the current board. I believe you have always been a voice of reason and spoke up for what you believed in. You are someone that anyone can work with, no matter if you agree on an issue or not. You know how to keep things professional and how to work as a team. We thank you for your 20 years of service, and you will also truly be missed.
That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, my name's Mike Bullis at 740 Shady Lane. I was on the board, and I appreciate what you guys do. Semper Fi, Mike. Just thank you for everything you did.
Any other residents?
Elson Hell, 726 Main Street. I just have a comment about the email for bank statements. One thing to remember is that email is unencrypted generally, and so be careful of the security on that.
Does somebody email bank statements?
No, you were talking about...
Through voice.
You're talking about the
Oh, the pay stubs.
Pay stubs.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's something to take into consideration when you do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from residents?
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye.
Also, if everybody wants to celebrate Mike, Tammy, and Tyrone, we have cupcakes, cookies, and punch if people would like to stay after to help thank them for their service. Yeah, you can. You said you haven't seen the last one?
How you doing?